will come.
Well, you're repeating yourself.
No, I'm not repeating.
You are repeating yourself.
Rabbi, this is a very important point which we're missing. We're missing.
We're not missing.
We're missing something. Wait.
We're going back to the fundamental point we said at the beginning.
I'll tell you why I'm following Muhammad. Because when I read the Quran in chapter 7, verse 157 tells me, right, that he has been foretold. Who? This man Muhammad has been foretold. Okay, يَجِدُونَهُ مَكْتُوبًا عِنْدَهُمْ فِي التَّوْرَاةِ وَالْإِنْجِيلِ. Clearly, that they find him mentioned in the Torah and in the Gospel. Okay, great. So what we do is we go into the Torah.
Let me talk for a second here. You talk about Daniel. Daniel, the name for Daniel was Ish Hamudot.
Right.
The person who was the man of delights. The word Hamudot is the same root as Muhammad. He said that 470 years.
I'm not talking about that, by the way.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm not talking about those passages.
I'm talking about this. I'm talking about that. I am talking about that passage. 470 years, redemption would come. Now, 470 years after the destruction, when Hadrian plowed the Temple Mount.
132.
That was 132.
Yeah. 132.
Plus, what's 132 plus 470?
That's a huge difference.
622.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
happened in 622? The Hijra.
Yes.
So there were many Jewish people that believed that.
Right. Okay.
So believe that Ish Hamudot.
Many Jewish people throughout centuries have converted to Islam because they found the prophecies in the book of Isaiah and elsewhere to be very consistent with the life of Muhammad.
Okay, I have come to the conclusion you're repeating yourself. So let other people talk.
Okay. So our points.
The conversation was quite beneficial, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The conversation was quite beneficial.
Okay, Baruch Hashem, thank you guys.
Yeah.
This was very good, very good.
And to
Just
make.
remember one thing.
Yeah.
Remember one
And
thing.
this is
that
no
the Jewish
repetition, by the way.
people, you know, that the Jewish people have the idea of covenants, of a universal deen that all mankind has to follow, and that you have to believe in God, you have to believe in reward and punishment, and do good works, and you guys are doing that, and that's just wonderful. As far as we're concerned, you guys can be as great as the high priest of the Jewish people.
And we really appreciate that, and this is one of the reasons why the Jewish people and
stick.
Muslims coexisted for over 1,000 years.
Absolutely, and why they can continue to coexist for 1,000 years.
Absolutely. Until the state of Israel was created, everything was fine. Everything was fine in the Jewish world. The Jewish people had the golden age with the Muslims. As you, I'm pretty sure you're a historian.
Yes,
you know what happened in Al-Andalus.
Well, there's been ups and downs throughout history.
Of course. There's no utopia. I'm not claiming a utopia.
And
I'm saying there were periods of persecution, no doubt.
Absolutely.
But the overall picture of the Jewish experience in Spain was amazing. The Jewish scholars are telling us it was the golden age. For 3 centuries, at least from 950 to 1250, that was the golden age when some of the best Jewish poets.
Shmuel Nagid,
Yes.
who was made the
Judah
head of the
Halevi.
Jewish army,
Judah Halevi.
who was made head of the Islamic army.
Yes.
And that was what tremendously upset Ibn Hazm.
Ibn Hazm was...
Because he was tremendously upset that a Jew should be given permission by the Sultan to control that, and he wrote tremendous, very difficult things about the Jewish people.
Yes.
And I think we're still living that.
You see, we have that, but on the other hand, we had a prime minister called Hyde ibn Shaprut, right? Hyde was the prime minister before Ibn Hazm was on the scene, right? This was 900s when Abdurrahman III was the caliph. He was the most powerful monarch in Western Europe, and Hyde was his prime minister, a Jewish prime minister. So we've had this coexistence, even in the Middle East, even in North Africa. As far as Mughal India, there were Jewish merchants there flourishing.
As
the state of
Jewish
Israel.
No, it's not just the state of Israel.
You don't think state of Israel changed anything?
Well,
the creation of the state.
Look, we've lived two generations of wartime propaganda. People saying that this person's less than human, this person's less than human. Both sides are trying to blame the other.
Yes.
So we don't have. I mean, first of all, it's forbidden for a believer to believe the internet. For an unbeliever to give news and reports of what's going on. So what we really need are proper religious courts to investigate what's really going on. Because we don't have any credible source to really do this. So I'm going to leave that aside to the politicians who can deal with that. But what I do know is that the idea of looking at, if you can see another Jew...
Sorry, do you say when these atrocities are taking place in Israel that we need someone to go and physically have a look at what's happening? Or
I believe you need God-fearing... we need God-fearing judges to collect evidence.
But the initial point I was making was that things went bitter between I mean, when I say, I don't mean to be sarcastic, but when I say people who claim to be Jewish in Israel, who are committing atrocities against the Palestinians, things went better when those people.
I walk around in Ramallah. I walk around in Nablus.
Right.
I have
The Jews
friends
have
that have no problems.
The
with
Jews
that.
have
And
walked
I'm
these
not-
streets for over 1,000 years. There was no
I
problem.
do it today, and I don't see atrocities going on all the time. I
Right.
mean, it is what's portrayed in the media. You know,
You don't-
walking around there is not accurate, and I won't
You don't
go
think
into
that
what is
the
accurate.
state
but I
of
just want to say-
Israel is actually committing atrocities against Palestinians?
I didn't
You
say
don't
that.
think so?
I did. What I said is it's not accurate. And
That's-
I don't have
So they
the
are
information. I don't have
You
the
say you
information.
walk them streets.
Yes.
Do you not see houses getting bombed? Do you not
No.
see Palestinians getting kicked out their houses?
No.
Do you not? See, you don't see none
So
of
you've
that.
never heard about Gaza being bombed from the sky
Well, there's a war going
and white
on. There's a war
phosphorus
going
being
on.
dropped on.
There is a resistance.
Yeah.
There is one group of people who feel that they are entitled to live there, and there's another group of people who feel that they're not entitled to live there, and they're fighting. And a lot
Right.
of bad things happen when people fight.
Of course, but do you think there is?
I don't
There's
I
no
don't-
bad things happening to the
I don't
Palestinians.
think-
Proportionally, they're equal. Do you think they're?
Look, I can't. I'm not a politician. I'm not a reporter. I can't
I
answer that
understand.
question.
I understand.
Rabbi,
But I
we're
do. I
asking
do
you-
say there
Rabbi-
is a war going on. There is a
Rabbi,
fight
we're
going
asking
on.
you these questions
Yeah.
because you have said you walk them streets. I think you
yes.
just come back yesterday. You
No,
said-
no.
Okay,
I'm
but-
saying the Jews have walked those streets for over
Yeah,
a
no,
thousand
what,
years.
what I'm saying, what I'm saying is this
and
can happen.
Muslims
No,
allowed the
what-
Jewish people to exist.
What
there.
I'm saying
Yeah.
is this can happen in the future too.
Yeah.
But what has to happen
Yeah.
is we have to respect each other.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. You have to. I have to
Rabbi,
believe you're a
how do you
believer.
respect each other
and-
when one force, the Israeli forces, are going to people's houses and dragging them out of
How much have you read about the West? In the news, the West talks about Muslims, and they make up stories.
I
how
agree with
awful
you.
they
No, we have
are.
seen
I agree
footage.
with you.
We're talking
I'm
about original
actual
footage.
footage
Okay,
which we
there's
can
all
show
sorts of
now.
footage.
Where the Israeli soldiers are
Look,
beating
I
children
don't wanna
up
get, I
and-
don't want to
yeah.
get into that. I
Yeah.
will say.
I
there
understand.
are-
I think they're
No,
the
but
difference.
okay, okay.
Brother, we've got very limited time.
Yeah, stay off.
Maybe about 3 moments. About political issues,
Okay.
one thing I can say, he sympathizes more with us because he
Alhamdulillah.
himself is fighting the same issue within. Okay?
No, he's a perfectly nice gentleman.
So
No,
let's
beautiful
not,
gentleman.
so let's not go
We've
into
had
that.
a very
inshallah,
nice
yeah.
discussion.
Well, but I do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am very much against.
Yeah.
I'm very much against
Yeah.
people concluding
The
things
reason why
from the
this issue
internet.
came up, the reason why this
You
issue
can't
came
condemn
up,
somebody
3
from
minutes,
what they see
inshallah,
on
we
the
need to
internet.
move
because
on.
the point I was making was the Jewish people and the Muslims, the believers of Muhammad,
Yeah.
that's what I mean by Muslims, people who believe in Muhammad as the last messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they have coexisted for over 1,000 years. The Jewish people were vulnerable. They were being persecuted around the world. Muslims took them into their arms and protected the Jewish people and gave them.
Some of them didn't. It was up and down.
Over 90% of the Jewish
What I'm saying,
population
but okay,
were
but
in the
at
Muslim
this point,
lands.
At this point,
Yeah.
on this point,
Yeah.
I am disagreeing with you. I do say that the
Didn't the
core of the
Palestinians-
issue.
Wait,
No, I'm disagreeing that because of the state caused the whole problem. I'm saying it's because of lack of respect. That's what I'm saying. Both sides.
Where did this
Both
lack of
sides are
respect
not
come from?
respecting-
Suddenly,
Okay, that's something
after
else. No,
after
wait,
a
wait,
thousand
wait,
years
no,
of
but
coexistence,
say-
lack of respect pops
I
into
think there are
existence.
plenty of good Palestinians. There are plenty of good Israelis, and they could get along. And I think what we just got to do is like that guy over there who's really talking fiery, and he and I should be able to get along, hug each other, and we should really
No, but,
build a better
but
world.
you don't see that that coexistence was disturbed by the creation
I
of
don't
the
think
state
it
of
was.
Israel.
I don't think it's impossible
Right.
today.
Okay,
I think it's still possible, and I
Right.
think it's just a matter of wanting it.
right.
Wanting what?
To coexist.
Coexistence.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
But if I come,
think what's
do you-
reported on the news.
if I come
think it's
into
absolutely haram to judge a person based on what you see on the internet.
Okay.
It's totally these are unbelievers.
Okay.
They have no purpose in the world other than incite worse
So
violence.
what about these settlements that are coming up? The land that's been taken from the Palestinians.
Again, you're
he
getting
doesn't
into
want to
details.
discuss that
Oh, sorry.
politics. So, yeah,
I'm
we
saying
understand.
Is there any
what we
reason
need-
why you don't want to
we
discuss
need-
just?
Well, the reason, what happened in the Constitution of Medina, you had one, it was called Ummah Wahida, you had Jews and Muslims sitting together. Why did it work? Because you had one judiciary, you had one system of justice. The Jews had their
Which was-
din, and the Muslims had their din, but both of them came to the Prophet, it was
Alayhi salatu
tied under one system.
Agreed.
And that's what we need today, and what we don't have. Between the
But what
Palestinians and the
system-
Israelis, we don't have.
So are you
we
saying
don't
that
have a way to
Israeli
solve
system is
any
failing?
problems.
Are you saying
Absolutely failed. The UN's failed. The Palestinians have failed. All of them
so?
failed.
Islamic system was better. The Ottomans
Well,
allowed the Jewish.
I won't say that necessarily it was better, but it definitely was on the right idea to have a single system for
Right,
both sides.
because the Jews
Because
and the
there's
Muslims
no
are
way-
coexisting.
There's no way to
Yeah.
solve any problem if you can't I mean, if you can't trust the guy who's walking behind you, he's not going to stab you. If you can't trust that, what kind of peace can you have? You have to have.
So you are actually
global-
confirming that the Muslim period
was a good period.
was a
I'm
good
saying
period.
the Ottomans had the right idea to have a single system over everybody, and in fact,
No, it was not a single system, by the way. No,
it's a millet system.
No. The Ottoman courts were there for the Ottomans, for the Muslims.
No, but
The
it
Jewish
was, it
Beth
was,
Dins
it wasn't
were
a
there for the
single
Jewish
system,
people.
It was a unified system. There was recourse. You could go to the Sultan.
There was one
government.
government. There was one government, but the people in Ottoman Jerusalem lived by their own laws. For example, the Muslims had their own courts. The Jews had their Beth Dins,
Right.
and the Christians
Absolutely.
had the priests to
But
govern.
they were tied
govern.
together.
So is it this misconception that
they were tied together. All of them
by
could
the
appeal to the
by the
Sultan.
political
All
by
of
the
them could
political
appeal to-
establishment called the Ottomans,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
The Ottomans.
And that's what we don't have today. If somebody
Unfortunate.
somebody breaks a window.
So here we
where
have
are
a
you gonna
Jewish
go?
rabbi advocating for the return of the Ottomans.
Well, I didn't say that. I said for a single judicial system.
Okay. Thank you.
You
So
need to
let's move on.
have.
No, the only
You
period.
can't have justice. You can't have peace if you don't have justice.
Can't-
And you can't have justice if you don't have a single judicial
Absolutely,
system.
I agree.
And that's what we need.
I agree.
The UN has completely failed. It has completely failed.
This is a thought that's to be cherished. This is what Karen Armstrong is a very good scholar. She stated in a history of Jerusalem that it were the first time these three Abrahamic faiths coexisted was under the system of Muslims. When the Muslims brought the system, when they took over the city, by the way, when Umar the Second, not Umar the Second, Umar the First, he took the city of Jerusalem from the Byzantines, Patriarch Sophronius. They actually put a clause in the treaty that you will not allow the Jewish people to live in
Muslims, yeah,
Jerusalem,
Bishop also said
and
that.
it were the Muslims who brought the Jewish
the
people
70,
back
yes,
into
yes,
Jerusalem,
absolutely.
right? So this rhetoric out there, or this propaganda out there that the Muslims are somehow anti-Semitic, Muslims are anti-Jewish, Muslims want
And
to
the
wipe
same
out the Jewish
propaganda-
people.
The same propaganda is that the
This is-
Jewish
this is
people
a lie.
don't like the Muslims, that the Jewish people hate the Palestinians.
We don't
the
believe
Israelis
it.
Are,
We don't
are
believe
out
it.
doing target practice on
We
little
meet
children.
beautiful gentlemen
This
like
is
yourself
not- okay,
who
it's not. There are
change our
plenty-
perception. Yeah.
There are plenty of good Jews. There's plenty of good Israelis. There's plenty of good Palestinians. Again, what we need is a single system, and I believe that the religious courts, if you have B'nai Noach, what we call B'nai Noach, and then you have Sharia or whatever, you have honest people who fear God, who are making judgment and not doing it for politics, not to bring power to some other people. I mean, governments are rising and falling all the time. You need people who, it says both by Islamic tradition, Jewish tradition, that a judge has to feel that he has the sword of Allah above him all the time. If he makes a wrong judgment, he'll be completely cut to pieces. We need people like that today.
Rabbi, we need to
We don't
leave.
have that.
Yeah, we
Okay.
need to-
Okay,
Rabbi,
very nice speech. Very nice speech.
Can I give you a hug?
Yes, yes.
Very nice meeting you. Very nice talking to you. Huh? We invite you for a dinner with us if you have time, but I can see that you
Well,
have
we're
to
kind
leave.
of rushed,
But
but,
it was very nice
may
talking
we
to you.
find an
And this is
opportunity.
what we need.
Yeah.
The Jewish people and the Muslims. I already have your.
Keep the communication
We
going.
need to
yeah?
keep the communication going. We need to keep the discussion going, and we can break all these barriers. Thank you so much
Right,
for
okay.
talking.
Thanks very much.
Shalom.
Well done.